Deep thoughts from the dashboard. Star here. Sorry for the right on time today. I was listening to StoryCorps, and man, does that always get me. I'm planning this weekend, as a matter of fact, to do an interview with my grandmother and my dad, and just have the opportunity to maybe put some things that I'm thinking, recording them so that I have them. And my grandmother's 89 now. She just turned 89, so it's super special to be able to have the time to talk to her. Anyway, today I wanted to talk about parent-teacher conferences versus portfolio conferences, the way that we did them at our school. Last night I was able to record some of what my students were doing. Since I work with seniors mostly, and my advisory are seniors, what I ask kids to do if parents aren't going to come in is I set them up with each other so they have an opportunity to practice talking about their learning with a peer, so that by the time the end of the year comes and they have to do their presentations, their exit presentations, they've had a bunch of practice talking about their learning. So if you caught the periscopes last night from that, that's what was going on. Many of the students who were there with their parents were camera shy, and I certainly wanted to respect their comfort level and not put them on the periscope if that's not something they wanted. So that's what you're seeing. And today, if I have more students, I'll likely periscope again. I did have one parent come in who wasn't aware of the way we do things at WJPS, and she seemed a little agitated that she wasn't going to be able to walk around to talk to all of the teachers that her daughter had, and I get it, but we're pretty transparent, and if all she wanted was the grades that her daughter was getting, we have a public portal where she could receive all the notifications she wants, and it's an online grade book, and folks use that fairly regularly. And even folks like me who don't grade also have the opportunity to use that to communicate learning. So the vast majority of the students in my advisory I don't teach, so I couldn't even give parents that little nugget of information they might be looking for. So I had to encourage them to make an appointment with the teachers and maybe get in on a different day, because today was really about the children's opportunity to share their portfolios. I also wanted to talk a little bit about the webinar yesterday, and I'm still really new at this webinar gig, presenting gig. The writing is the easy part for me, but the opportunity to really present my ideas for people and answer questions is something that's relatively new, but I'm getting better at it. And as a matter of fact, this whole Periscope experience is a great way for me to practice my comfort in front of people, my comfort talking in front of people, even though there's nobody physically in front of me, but having everyone out there to sort of ask me questions and really provide me feedback on different things that happen while I'm speaking. And some of you have been so generous with your ability to reach out to me and tell me, what resonates with you and what you think about situations. And thank you so much for the hearts. I appreciate that. So I'm starting to get a better, oh, thank you, Kitty. I'm working on it. I'm pretty excited today. I mean, there's a big weekend. I feel a little scattered this morning, so I apologize for being a little disorganized in my thoughts. My parents are in town. My parents live in Arizona. I live in New York, and I see them a few times a year, and I'm very close with them. My mom is an amazing lady, really strong. The women in my family are very strong, and when you have a lot of strong personalities together, I think sometimes there's some great opportunity for some discord. And my dad and I are very close, and he often gets in the middle of stuff that goes on between my mom and I. And in addition to that, it's my son's birthday on Sunday. He's going to be 10, and my brother's birthday on the same day. And he lives in Arizona as well, so unfortunately I'm not going to be able to get to see him on his birthday. But something that comes up, and folks have heard me talk about it before, I'm divorced. My ex-husband and I would say we have the pseudo kind sort of relationship with each other, where on the surface it appears like we get along just fine, but we really don't. And there are always, I don't usually do well as it pertains to Logan when plans are made and then expectations of those plans are changed. I'm much more flexible in my classroom and much more patient in my classroom, ironically, than I sometimes am in other parts of my life. And it's something that I definitely recognize about myself. I'm not really sure why I have so much patience or flexibility, or like I'm so much better just in the classroom than I have a really hard time sometimes applying the things I teach and espouse in the classroom. I have a hard time sometimes applying to every aspect of my life. And I wish I could, and I honestly try very hard, but specifically as it pertains to my son and my ex-husband and everything else around that. Thank you, Adam. I think we all do. You're right. I really do struggle with it. And it's Logan's birthday, and I want this weekend to be so special for him. And I already told my students, because they know that I'm so reachable 98% of the time. I was just like, FYI, it's my son's birthday this weekend. I'm not going to be answering emails. I'm not going to be all over the place on social media. So if you have specific questions, Friday's probably the best day to reach me, and then it'll have to wait until Monday. And sometimes I have to set these very real and strict parameters, not just for them with having good boundaries, but for me too, because sometimes all of this accessibility, it really does disrupt my personal life, and I have a very hard time regulating an appropriate amount, because I'm a worker and I certainly want to do the very best I can. And I think when we find that one thing in our lives that we feel really good about when other things aren't going, I totally agree. Jill. I'm not looking forward for Logan to grow up, but I am looking forward till I get to a point where I don't need to pretend to make decisions with my ex-husband. But the bottom line is, like, I have this amazing career. I love what I do. I'm really passionate about it. I love to write about it. And when things aren't going well in my personal life, I find that I seek major refuge in my job and the kids, and feeling good about myself through the work that I do, which I know is really meaningful work, and I'm so grateful for it. But that doesn't necessarily improve the situation that I'm having at home. So I am really working very hard all the time to improve my situation at home, acknowledge when I'm not as present as I can be, and really focus on ways to become more present. And hopefully this weekend maybe I'll get a Periscope out of Logan and he could participate with me, and you all can have the opportunity to see my wonderful little boy who's not so little anymore. Anyway, thank you for listening this morning. A little bit of a ramble here and there. There's a lot going on. I only fortunately have one class today because we have a half a day. Yeah, I think so. I think it's really hard, Adam, to focus on some of the challenging parts of our lives. And I think I always thought by the time I was 38 that things would be different. I didn't think I would be struggling so much now. I thought the time for struggles were when I was younger, and there were certainly tons of times where there were struggles. And again, it's just seeking out that balance. But today in class, my real goals after class ends today is making sure that I do get through all of the assessments that I need to get through, provide the feedback, especially because they don't go away. It is an endless challenge, and I feel like relationships take, thank you. Relationships take so much responsibility. Now it's just the beginning, Jill? Oy, I say about that. I don't know about it. I don't know. I don't think I ever thought I would ever be a wife or a mother. So, I think that contributes to where I am right now. I ended up being both of those things. Oh, it's totally what Logan wants to do. Logan is a little ham. I would never ever control him about that. He asks to be on the camera. So yeah, it would be totally up to him. It's all about him. Exactly. So yeah, I hope everyone has a super Friday and a super weekend, and I have all my blog posts scheduled for the weekend. So those of you who think I'm in constant, yes, yes, and let me tell you something. When you're a divorced single mom and you're in a relationship with somebody for a long time, my boyfriend and I have been living together for many years. We've been together in our relationship for 7, and he's been putting up with my ex-husband and trying to help out with my son and be a sounding board and help me see things. Like, but one thing he's really awesome about that I'm terribly grateful for is that he can separate the emotion from situations when I can't, and he could say to me very objectively, is this is this what's best for Logan? And if it is, let's make that decision. Try not to let your emotions about your ex-husband make that decision. And if it's not what's best for Logan, you need to say no and not feel like you're hurting anybody, because the only person that matters is Logan, and he's so very right. Anyway, this is a long Periscope this morning, so I'm gonna take off, and I hope everybody has an awesome Friday, and thank you so much for the participation today, and hopefully I'll be seeing you soon.